There was once a convention of electrical appliances. They were all there: hoovers, irons, hairdryers, kettles, lamps, drills, lawnmowers, and so on. The topic for discussion was, what happens when the power comes? The hairdryer was the first delegate to speak. There'll be a warm glow, there'll be heat, air will come rushing out, and there will be plenty of noise. The kettle was the next speaker. When the power comes, there has to be water. That is a very basic requirement. When the power comes, the water will gradually come to boiling point, when there will be plenty of steam. Yes, there will be noise, but the noise will tail off as the water boils. Then there was an argument between the hairdryer and the kettle. The hairdryer insisted that water was not simply unnecessary, but absolutely disastrous. Not only that, but if the noise tailed off and there was steam coming out, something was definitely wrong. They continued to argue long after they had sat down. A steam iron was the next to take the platform. He agreed that heat was definitely a sign that the power had come. Also, there should be steam, but only if required, and definitely no noise. When the iron had sat down, a bedside lamp was next to contribute. Heat doesn't matter. Yes, there will be some heat, but not a significant amount. The really important sign is light. There should be no noise and definitely no water. An electric drill was the next speaker. The bedside lamp thought he looked a little clumsy and overweight. The drill said that when the power comes, there should be no heat, no light, no air, but lots of movement and lots of noise. He sat down, but by now there was a huge argument and the situation was getting chaotic. Noise or no noise, heat or no heat, light or no light, movement or no movement, water or no water, how much water? The iron insisted that there should be just a light sprinkling. A tiny kettle and great big old hot water cistern disagreed quite violently. There must be immersion. The old cistern shouted out, total immersion. That was absolutely essential. All this time the lawnmower had kept quiet, but now he spoke. "You're all wrong," he said. "You've missed the point entirely. You're all assuming that the power is going to come when you're inside. No, you've got to get out. There's work to be done outside, and that must not be neglected. It's only because you're stuck inside that there's all this argument about water, how much water, heat, and light. The power doesn't come when you're inside, but when you're outside." He then sat down with a very smug look, as if the final word had been spoken. The convention ended up in chaos and eventually had to be abandoned. Who was right? They couldn't all be right, could they? What they failed to understand was the tremendous variety there would be when the power came. Jesus said, "You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you." The Apostle Paul wrote, "There are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit gives them. There are different ways of serving, but the same Lord is served. There are different abilities to perform service, but the same God gives ability to all for their particular service. The Spirit's presence is shown in some way in each person for the good of all. It is one and the same Spirit who does all this. As He wishes, He gives a different gift to each person."